All right, welcome back to the show, Downers. My name is Matt Carter, and this is the Break It Down podcast. I'd like to give a special thanks to all the Wolves at the Gate fans for hosting us on Wolves at the Gate's Facebook page tonight. This is a podcast that I do regularly. My name, I said, is Matt Carter from Emory. If you're interested in this show and you want to find out more about it, you can go to breakitdownpod.com. You can get it on iTunes, YouTube, all that kind of stuff over there. So I'm here tonight, and everybody's in for a treat because I have a friend of mine, Steve Cobucci. Thanks for being here tonight, Steve.
What's up, man?
So you seem like you were in a home studio. Is that what it is? You said you're at your home studio there?
Yep, it's a little home studio. Not too much, but enough to get the job done.
Well, it looks really good, actually, and I noticed right there, just off the top of, just from looking at it for a second, that's the same rig you have on tour right there in your house. So this is attached to your house, and you have all your band gear and all that stuff in there?
Yeah, because I'm always trying to tinker with tone and different tones for songs, and so it's nice to have it at home because you can only do so much at sound check. So,
do you have a big enough place to have a whole room or a wing, or what do you have there home studio-wise?
Basically, this is like the basement of the house, so it's mostly like the whole footprint of the house. So it's actually pretty big.
So you have a big home studio, and they're in New Jersey, so that's probably not cheap real estate either. That's good.
No, yeah, it's not cheap. But
is it a rental home, or do you own a place there?
No, we actually own this house.
Well, congratulations. This is my garage that I work out of here. So
I was going to ask you where you were because the wall looks pretty sweet.
Yep, this wall is really sweet. So, okay, this is one of the things I wrote down. We'll just jump right into it, Steve. You're a construction guy, and I'm not like you, but I did probably 40% of the work on this. I probably sunk 40% of the screws in this detached garage that we turned into a full apartment. I did all of the work here with just with some other skilled labor. I paid people hourly to help, and me and one other person at any given time, and we did the whole project, which was like a dream come true for me. But you do construction like as a day job and everything, huh?
Yeah, when we're off the road, that's what I do to make money, I guess.
Okay, so what I'm interested in as far as that goes is, do you find that there's any kind of connection there, or is it just something you do? Is it something that you care about and like and find craftsmanship in any way relating to how music or composing music is a satisfying thing?
Yeah, definitely, because the fine details, I guess. Like I enjoy doing that because there's things that you do in a song that like people won't ever care about, but it's there and it makes a difference to you in like the construct of the song. And so like for me, working either on somebody's house or building something for somebody, they're not going to care that I spent like the extra hour to do this or that, but it's going to make it that much better. And they would never know, but it really does make it better.
So like the extra detail or how well your cuts are, the way you overlap stuff, even if it's hidden behind trim, you take great pride in those details you're saying in the stuff that you build.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause a lot of times like people don't know how you got from point A to point B. All they care about is the finished product. They don't care about really how painstaking it was for this or that to happen. Because even like with a song, like trying to explain things to people, they don't know what it's like to have to like go through so many bad like vocal ideas or like bad guitar ideas. And then the same thing with like working in people's houses too, or building stuff for people. They don't really care about the struggle of how you got there. They're just like, oh cool, you made this, or oh cool, you installed my kitchen, Yeah. But for them it's like they didn't realize that when I opened up a wall, a previous cabinet installers screwed the cabinet right into their waistline, and their fecal matter was pouring into their kitchen for 15 years.
Whoa.
So it's like stuff like that. Like,
they need a nail plate right where there's a pipe supposed to be there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's really funny. The thing I think that's really good, and the other thing about music is you'll make this whole thing, and there's all these details that aren't there in the final product that are in the tracks when it's multi-track before it gets mixed. And then you get the whole product there, and then the first thing, an unskilled or an untrained person, not that their opinion's not valid, but they'll still notice some little tiny flaw or detail, and they'll just drive you crazy because they're missing the whole point. And I bet that's the same in construction, a client not being happy with something totally silly.
Yeah. Yeah, they say the devil's in the details, but sometimes it feels like it's the opposite, like people care about something that was like you care about that? Like, but I remember when we put out 5x5, some kid posted and said like, your voice was kind of out of tune on this part, and I was like, that's because I didn't sing it perfectly. You know, it's like, you're in trouble if you like, oh, everything sounds perfect. I wish it was more raw. It's just kind of like it is,
so that's the thing though, because it's really another good parallel is, and you notice this wall behind me. The only reason you notice it is it's because it's not plain white drywall with standard texture on it. It's something of character, which means inherently it's different. It's flawed. The paint's not perfect, and ironically, I went to a lot of detail to make it flawed the way it is.
Yeah,
I went.
exactly.
I had to get the tongue and groove board. I put it on the rough side, and then I stained it, and then whitewashed it, but just so it would look the way I wanted it to look. And out of tune vocal is the same thing. It's not that you didn't know that your vocal was a little out of tune there. That's something you elected not to fix. So being able to criticize, being able to identify a flaw doesn't mean that it shouldn't be there, and it doesn't mean anything good about you that you can identify, that you can pick out something being 20 cents flat or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's the thing too is I remember, I can't remember what part it was, but I remember when they said that, like I read that comment and I was just laughing because it was like, I wanted you to know that I did it, basically. Like I actually did that. So as the listener, you can listen and go, man, he actually sang that part that wasn't like completely corrected in this and that. Because there's certain things that I feel like your character has to come through, and there's certain things that you just need to nail it. And if you didn't nail it, it's got to get fixed a little bit. So, but
yeah, do you think that it's? Do you think we're up against a point of production and sound that it's a dangerous place of what we can correct? I mean, where are you at with the production spectrum? Because I hear your music, and I hear even on this new album, it's to me the album is very alive sounding. It is good. I do not have a complaint that it's overproduced, but at the same time, it's tight and it's clean and it's nice. And I wonder, what is your philosophy on that? Like, how do you determine for you and for Wolves at the Gate how perfect to get things?
Yeah, well, it's tough because even like listening back, I wish that it wasn't as tight. I'm always listening to our records, I wish that it was a little bit more loose.
That's a weird thing.
Because I know, but just because every time like I play it normally, like certain parts like riffs, I'll play it normally, and I'm like, man, there's something about it just being rough that is better. And it's tough because like the producer's got to put his name on it, and then I also have to play it really rough too. So it's like still trying to find that middle ground. But when it comes to production, like, I don't know, I want it to sound as real as possible without it also sounding not fun, you know? Because there's some bands that sacrifice, like, it just like, you want to listen to something that sounds fun,
Yeah, I don't think people identify that though. When you're under the microscope and you hear a guitar part bent out of tune or the intonation not good, that can be the worst thing in the world, or it can be good, and it's really hard to have that perspective in the moment. But when I go back to the other albums, ones that I engineered or obsessively engineered or over-engineered, I definitely am not proud of that. And I know if it would have been, if I'd have left more mistakes or more character, I should say, I would have liked it better to this day. I know that I would. And I don't have, I can't find any place where I go back and listen to really any of our albums where I feel like, ooh, that was, maybe there's a few. Maybe on our third record, I'm Only a Man, there's a few things I say, well, we could have tightened that one up. But but for the most part, no, not. I really just wish there was more flaw. I wish we had fixed less things. And I don't know what that means, because I don't know how you go into a project. I'm thinking, actually, let me tell you an idea. I'm a Pro Tools guy, right? So I do everything in Pro Tools. Pro Tools is great for editing. And I'm really, really good at it. I'm sure there's some people out there better, but I just don't. I feel like I can edit. It's just, I love it. I feel like I'm looking at the Matrix. I can do everything I want to do. But that's a hindrance. So on our last record, I reinstalled Pro Tools and took off all plugins. So I had no plugins doing the record. So I couldn't mess with any sounds. I gave myself that limitation. So I still edited some. I edited less on purpose. But I didn't use even any plugins other than if something was just really driving me crazy, I would roll off the bass or something. But I did not do any sound processing, replacing, try to get any grip on what the final sound should be. So I was only focused on the tracks. And I thought that helped. And here's what I'm thinking about doing on the next record. I think that I'm going to not use Pro Tools and use Logic, which I can't figure out how to even hit the record button in GarageBand or Logic. I don't know how to use it at all. But I'm thinking if I put that constraint on myself, I would literally have no ability to do anything other than hook it up, put a mic in a good place, and play it until I get it right. And that's all I'll be able to do. And so I'm thinking maybe tracking all the instruments with that limitation, maybe that'll be a good idea.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, I know what you mean, because I do very similar things when I'm working on new songs. Like a lot of it too is just like tone wise. I'll delete presets so that I have to recreate something, because your tastes change, but it's so easy just to pull up your preset, for me, like on the Axe Effects, or even just like on my actual amps, to just leave it where it's at. It's fun to just mess up the dials and start again, because I'm hearing new stuff all the time. And so I definitely see value in that, and I like the challenge.
I tell you, though, that guitar tone thing is the squirreliest of all sound things, because it's such a bizarre, unnatural sound. A guitar coming through a speaker, distorted with a microphone on it, coming back out of another speaker into the air, into your ears. It sounds like if you isolate it and then start playing with the mic setting or something, it is just... It's mush. Like you lose your equilibrium after you've listened to like 3 different versions of it. You have no clue what you're listening to. And I don't. I mean, I guess people do. I don't. I have no clue what is going on once I've tried 3 different a 421 and a 57 on center, off center. At that point, I am toast. I am done. I have no way to know if it's good or bad after I've tried more than 3 different things.
I'm the same way. It's like. Yeah, at that point, I'm like dead to the sound.
I can hear the difference. I just have no reference of what would be good or what would be bad.
Yeah, anymore. What's better.
Yeah,
because all of it's like, oh, I hear that that's different, but maybe that could be. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting when I get guitar tone to record. Or even live, but I think that's kind of fun not knowing, because you still kind of keep that youthful spirit that you had when you first started playing guitar and writing music,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So another thing that's interesting is like you sent me, and I really appreciate you doing this. You sent me some of your early voice memos and stuff like this for some of the stuff on this record, which I love doing on this show. And it's even those things aren't usually as embarrassing as you would think they would be. And something hit me when I was listening to these today. It's like, even these almost sound fresh to me in a way that a polished album doesn't. And almost like, I know the songs weren't complete when you were working these out, but it almost feels to me like a good songwriter with a good song, if you would go back and just record the whole song acoustic with you into your iPhone, I actually would think that actually might be fun to listen to. But let's do a couple of them. Here is a song called Lowly, which I really like. And here is what is this? You on an acoustic doing this. See if we can hear this.
Yeah.
So you already had a good amount of lyrics going at this point.
Yeah, because I was doing a lot of the da 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 da, in my head, and that whole line I wrote pretty quickly. So that's like the ones that I sent were like rare moments where I could write lyrics fast. Normally, it's just kind of like painstaking to get lyrics out.
So there's some na-na lyrics there.
Yep.
Okay, so is that what we just heard there? Is that a typical demo for you? Is that how the song starts? How much had you worked on it before you put that down on your iPhone?
I actually had a lot of the music written, and so one of my this is like my process is I usually will write kind of like structure, like chord structure and melody just on the acoustic, but it's all just la la la, and then I'll write the instrument version of it. Record it on my computer. And then I basically just whenever I'm driving or whatever, I listen to it and try and work out the melodies to make sure I'm going everywhere I want to go. Because, when you're sitting on the acoustic and working out a melody, you don't have every note figured out.
Right.
You're kind of just like a snake, kind of like sliding through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get it all figured out so I know what I need syncopation wise or rhythmically for lyrics. Then.
All right. So in that really quick answer there, you've revealed to me a very ton about the way that you work, and that's a lot because that what you've described there. I think there's a lot of people that are like that, but there's so many front men. I think that's the less common approach. That's very, very similar to the way I work, and it's very far off from what I say is the pure expressive type. Because there's a lot of people who basically, what you're saying, that song, people in the live feed didn't hear it? Huh. Well, crap, Steve. Hang on one second. There's no real, did you hear, can you hear it? Well, why not? That should be coming out the same master send as everybody else. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'll see if I can't fix it, but that should have been there. Crap. It really should be there. Let me try one thing really quick. Can you verify if I've got it now, Reva? If I try it again? I'll try one more thing here.
It's probably awesome for everyone to watch us sit in silence.
I know. I thought they would hear it, but that's okay. I'll put it in the podcast. But live video people, my apologies if we don't get it. I can't troubleshoot it in the middle here. But how about now? So they'll hear it starting again. Okay. Well, I'm going to turn it down and let people hear it while I talk again. I'm going to find my spot. I was saying something really cool. Let me try to remember what it was. Okay. What I was saying, Steve, is the pure expressive types. And I know it's a spectrum probably, but there's a lot of people who they sit down because they have sometimes a lyric idea or a thought or a message even that they want to get out, or a melody is popping out of their head and they just noodle on the guitar. Or something like that, where and that's like the pure performer, the person that's, I'm here to express myself, I'm the artist, and all the rest is details to them, and it's for other people to do. And I think that's and those people are really valuable. But I am very, very, very far away from that. So when people even use the term artist or even musician, almost to me doesn't feel like it describes me. I feel like. And the way you describe yourself is much more this way. It's more like composer, and it's more like builder, honestly. Mm-hmm. You started with what you say is the foundation, which you said was chord structure, harmonic content. And you don't even have any melody yet. And so you build that harmonic content to know that it's going to be solid and secure, and that there's going to be a lot of potential, fertile ground to grow that on. And then what'd you say you do next?
Right.
Then you go arrange it in the computer, did you say next?
Yeah.
And turn it into arranged parts.
Yep.
And so then you're kind of designing at that point. I mean, you're really doing some design work. And I still think that, and of course there's creativity in all those things, but it's different than personal expression. There's an element to that, but you're really designing when you're arranging. And then you go start exploring melody. So now you're just, painting and picking out trim and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, but what's interesting about you is that you're able to keep going past there and finish melodies, which is still composition, and then even into lyrics and message. So a lot of people that start on the very on that other end that you and I are on, a lot of times those people like to quit before they get all the way to lyrics and melody and lyrics.
Yeah,
so how is it for you? Is it weird to get all the way to lyrics there? Is that a part you like doing, or you just feel like you need to do lyrics? How do you because that that's the most creative and personal, and there's no right or wrong way to do that part. So how do you get there?
I think it's pretty like song specific, because like this song we were doing right now, Lowly, I would definitely say there was a lot of like expressive things. You just like kind of like billowing inside, I want to get out almost. And there's certain songs that have that feeling and that tone. Other songs like that are just more rockin'. Like I don't necessarily feel the need to like express something I'm feeling, but more so like hey, what can I say that really kind of fits the tone
right.
and feel of this song?
See, but that's interesting though, because it almost feels like there'd be an emptiness to that, and I don't get that. I feel like your lyrics are good and strong and something that people even really identify with a lot. But on the other hand, you're describing it as if lyrics were yet another part that you have to do before a song is complete. Like, well, this needs a guitar part. It needs it needs some drum fills. I guess I got to write a second verse. Like it sounds a little divorced from the fact of I'm Steve and I have this message that I've got to get out, and the song is the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? That's a different approach. Yeah,
well, you know what it is? Like, I don't find myself to be that important that I would feel that way about like expressing. It's more so for me, like, I love creating music. I love like building something like you're talking about, like that whole process you spoke about. I was just like, yeah, like I love doing that. And then for me, on top of it, I really do love communicating a message, but nothing ever, I don't think there's anything that really takes like a precedent of just like, oh, like when you said I don't feel like an artist, I feel the same way.
You don't feel like an artist?
No.
Okay.
Because I don't, like, you and I probably like wear the same shirts we've been wearing for like 10 years.
I certainly do, yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you. Like, I think that's probably why we see eye to eye, because like we're not like trendsetters or really trend followers. It's